3 minutes before midnight, my phone rang and suddenly nothing in my life made sense. Why was my house silent? Why did I hear laughter in my own bedroom? I walked to the wing of the mansion with my suitcase and keys. I climbed the marble stairs. In the dark, I saw them. My wife was kissing her ex in our room. She still thought I was the poor man she married. She did not know I had money now. I watched the portrait in the hall with my own face beside hers. I felt the fortune burn like ice. I wanted to shout. I wanted to leave. Instead, I fixed my tie and walked in. The chandelier light hit her hair. The butler's footsteps stopped. Suddenly, the man smiled at me and whispered a name I would never forget. What would I do next? I arrived at the estate 3 years ago with almost no money. I had a small job then. I met Lara in a garden near the mansion. She smiled like a movie star. She said she loved simple life. We promised each other forever in front of a small portrait. I believed her. She laughed when my wallet was thin. I promised I would change. I worked hard. I learned business. I did not tell her everything. I did not tell her how I planned to save money. I kept a secret because I wanted to surprise her. She thought I was poor. She liked that version of me. She wanted a quiet life with small dinners and soft music. I gave her that life. The mansion came later. I stayed humble. I let her lead parties in the ballroom. She wore bright dresses under the chandelier. She danced with men and laughed. I watched and smiled. But small cracks grew. She started to be late for dinner. I found a lipstick on a library book. I saw messages on her phone when she fell asleep. Her name in those messages was different. I asked her once. She said, "It is nothing. He is old friends." Her voice was calm. I felt betrayed. My heart stopped like a clock with no battery. I held my breath. Then I lost my company and found another chance in a sudden sale. I became heir to a fortune I never wanted to tell her about. I kept the truth. I wanted to see her face when she knew. I thought I would walk to the ballroom and take her hand. I thought she would smile and cry. But that night, when my private car parked, I heard laughter and a kiss. I stood in the wing like a shadow. The butler watched. The portrait above us stared cold. I opened the door slowly. The kiss stopped. They turned. My suitcase hit the floor with a soft sound. "Who is he?" Lara asked, voice small and bright. The man she kissed said my name in a low voice. The butler held his breath. I stepped into the light. I felt the mansion change in one breath. Who speaks my name like a promise? The room waited for my move. I had a choice to make. I did not shout in the room. I smiled with empty teeth. I let them explain. Lara said, "He is my friend. He came back today." The ex looked calm in a suit that was not mine. He had the old power in his voice. He laughed like he owned the estate. I felt anger grow like a storm. I wanted to ruin him, but I also wanted to watch her regret. I planned a public test the next night. I asked the butler to set a dinner in the garden. The mansion garden had lamps and a large table. Guests came. The guests were important. I invited the man and his friends. I invited Lara's family. I sat at the head chair, the heir now. My face was polite. The chandelier from the veranda lit us softly. I kept my voice small. I told a simple toast. I said, to truth. I looked at Lara. She smiled and looked away. I put a portrait on the table. The portrait showed the three of us long ago. I told a story about the portrait. I said, this man helped me when I had no money. He promised me a job. He lied. The man made a quick face. He wanted to interrupt. I did not let him. I showed a paper. It was a contract. The guests read it. The paper said he planned to take land from my old company. The room went quiet. Lara's mother covered her mouth. The ex's smile faded. He wanted to leave, but my men blocked the gate. I felt the air burn. My plan worked. The man looked at Lara like a dog caught in rain. He blamed her. He called her names in a low voice. She did not answer. Later, when the crowd left, Lara came to me in the library near the portrait. She said, "Why did you do this?" I answered, "I wanted truth in the open." She looked at the portrait and touched the frame. Her hand shook. I knew then she would fight back. She ran to call a lawyer. She wanted to take the house. I felt my hold slip. The butler closed the library door with a soft click. Someone knocked at the gate. I heard a car stop. Who could come now? I walked to the window and saw a black car. A man stepped out. He had a lawyer face. The game had only begun. I changed after the garden. The good man inside me closed the door. I learned to be cold. I hired a quiet team. I signed papers like a man with no fear. I moved money to hold the house. I invited the press to a small meeting. I told a short story. I said, I am the heir. I control the estate now. The cameras flashed. Lara's face went pale. She tried to smile in front of the lenses. The ex tried to speak, but a guard stopped him at the gate. I wanted them to feel small. I wanted them to see my new life and learn regret. At night, I walked in the wing and saw the old portrait again. It looked like a judge. I thought of the first promise in the garden. The promise now had changed. I arranged small reveals. A text arrived with a photo. It was the ex leaving a hotel with a woman. The photo was old and ugly. I sent the photo to Lara with no words. She opened the message and cried alone in our bedroom. She came to me and said, "You are cruel." I said, "I was kind before." She whispered, "What do you want from me?" I answered, "I want truth and respect." She left the house that night. She packed one bag. She stood in the hall under the chandelier and looked at her own portrait. She left the mansion with the ex for a small flat. The village gossip moved fast. My name became a soft shout in newspapers. I lost sleep but not control. Then one morning the ex called me at 9. He said he had cancer and begged for help. My hands froze. He said he wanted money and forgiveness. For a moment, the old man inside me wanted to help. I saw him in the portrait too. But then I thought of the kiss in my bedroom. I remembered the way Lara smiled when she left. The good man closed. I decided to test our love in one last way. I sent a public letter with the truth about my early life and the way I had grown. I invited Lara to the estate on the night of the portrait ball. The invitation was a trap or a dance. She answered with a single line, "I will come." The night arrived. A car turned into the estate. Lara walked up the marble stairs. She held a small box. She looked at me with eyes that said she had a secret too. The ballroom music stopped. I felt a footstep behind me. I turned. The man from before stood close with a soft voice. He said, "You are not the only one who can change." The truth came in the first dance. Lara opened the small box in front of all guests. Inside was a ring and a note. The note said she had a child with the ex. She had hidden the truth for months. The guests gasped. The portrait seemed to watch. I felt the air stop. I could have lost my temper. Instead I took the ring and placed it on the table. I walked to the balcony and looked at the garden. I saw the butler fold napkins like a man holding a secret. I understood then. I was the one who had changed first. I had become the cold air to punish heartache. Lara cried and asked me to forgive her. I felt no need to punish with ruin. I chose to leave the estate to find a small man inside me again. I gave her the mansion and the portrait. I kept one small thing, the lesson. Money can make you strong, but it can also make you cruel. Real strength is truth and simple love. Years later I live in a small flat near the sea. I wake early and drink coffee in a small cup. I see the portrait sometimes in a shop window. I do not want the old anger back. I learned to ask for truth and to give it too. The final truth. People change. But a person who learns to be kind again will never lose more than a house.